All right, everybody, welcome to June. This is the 6th month of the year. And today I want to talk about 3 things to take a look at in June for yourself. This is going to be a very spiritually evolving kind of experience. This is likely to be something that really brings you to the place of what your dreams are and what you want to create in life, and helps you gain clarity around that. Now, a lot of people, I'm going to point out 3 retrogrades that are happening this month. I feel like these are the 3 biggies. These 3 energy shifts are going to make a big difference generationally, but also personally. So we can think about things in terms of how all of us may be having kind of a similar awakening or an experience, and then individually how it might play out in your life based on where it is in your birth chart. So I'll talk a little bit about that, who's most affected by this energy, and how you can really harness the power of these transits to make the life that you most want. So if you're new here, welcome in. If you have been around this channel for a long time, welcome back. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please do that. And also hit the like button if you like this kind of content. Tarot readings infused with a lot of astrological information to help you gain clarity and then use it to your benefit to harness the power of all of these transits. So if you like that, stick around. I've got a lot of information to share with you. Let's just get going. All right, so the first big one I want to talk about is Pluto. And we've been talking about Pluto, I don't know, forever it seems like, but Pluto is in retrograde. It has been in retrograde since the beginning of May, and moves so darn slow that it was in Aquarius. It just had ingressed into Aquarius in March. There was, there's that early part of Aquarius, just starting to see the glimmers of what's going on. Anything that has happened since March 23rd is going to be highlighted for the next 20 years. Okay. So if you're a good journaler, you can go back and look at March 23rd and look at some of the events that have occurred over the past few months. June 11th, Pluto is going retrograde back into Capricorn. So it was in retrograde already since May 1st, but it was still hanging out in Aquarius. And now it's going to move back into Capricorn. So that's a major thing. When Pluto came into Capricorn in the first place, which was back in 2008, we all know what happened in 2008. A lot of the banks fell off a cliff because they were doing stuff that was putting the banks at risk. Okay. They were doing some innovative stuff, Aquarius. But in Capricorn is the rules. Capricorn is how we're supposed to do it. Capricorn is the structures and the foundations of things. So anything that was a little bit hinky about that, about some kind of way of doing things that really wasn't kosher. Okay. So Capricorn had been in Sagittarius for a long time, and it was sort of a little bit too optimistic, maybe. Sagittarius has the kind of reputation for that, for being a little too optimistic. It's also ruled by Jupiter. So Jupiter was about like shooting for the stars and thinking big and all this kind of stuff. And then Pluto ingressed into Capricorn in 2008, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn's like, I'm sorry, we need some rules. This is nuts. So the banks went crazy, okay? And then it moved, Pluto has been moving through Capricorn very slowly for the last 20 years or for the last 18 years or so. And it came up into Aquarius, like I said, in March, and then it's going back into Capricorn. I feel like this is like a truck backing up over something, like, okay, because it had ingressed into Aquarius and we're all like, now we can really innovate. Now we can spark some kind of new thing. Now that we understand what the structures and the rules are, now let's innovate. And because of what happened before in Sagittarius, that kind of feeling is a little bit similar. However, Aquarian energy is really about the collective, about doing what's best for all. That's very different from Sagittarian energy, okay? So it was kind of like, all right, how are these structures really working for us, right? We're talking about the collective. We're talking about a large group of people, because Pluto is a planet that is very far out. It's the furthest planet out there. I think they even demoted poor Pluto, and it's not a planet anymore, but it's still in our astrology, and it's still something that impacts us generationally. Okay. So this is something where we all were kind of like, okay, maybe we can now start to move in a little bit of an innovative direction. And then it went in retrograde, and we're like, well, I don't know, maybe not. And now it's back into Capricorn. It's likely that there may be some upheavals around things that are structures that we are now rethinking. Anything in retrograde is rethinking and reworking, and especially with this energy of Capricorn ruled by Saturn. Okay, so who is going to be most impacted by this? When Pluto went into Aquarius is a fixed sign. Okay, Aquarius and Leo, Scorpio and Taurus. You may also know that the North Node is in Taurus. So Taurus is about our banking systems, and North Node is like, okay, what can we do to create something that is a better structure, right? North Node is saying, hey, listen, you got to look at how you're dealing with money. You got to look at that. And people are like, no, I don't want to. Okay. But now that Aquarius has had its day, fixed signs are like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's just tweak it. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay. Whatever kind of other nonsense. Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius only really wanting to tweak. And that can be a thing for the next 20 years, that the structures may need to be completely upended, because Pluto is the energy of transformation. So the structures may need to be completely uprooted, and forcing when Pluto goes back into Aquarius later this year, there's a slight wobble next year, and it's fully in its Aquarian spot by end of 2024. Okay, so we have this like year and a half of like wobbly. All right, like, are we doing the right thing, or are we not? Are we going in the direction that's going to help people, the collective, or are we doing something that's traditional? Okay, and traditional may not be the same thing as helping the collective. So that's when the roots of something that isn't really going to work when Pluto gets into Aquarius. Like, we don't want it. We don't want more tower moments. We don't want more 2008s. So we've got to get really super clear on what those tweaks might be. Now, when Pluto comes back into Capricorn, we may have a coming together of like, no, this is not working at all. Okay, this is not working at all. So we move from the fixed signs. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Which is not really Aquarian energy. Aquarian energy does like to fix stuff. But we're moving back into Capricorn, which is a cardinal sign. Cardinal signs: Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, and Leo. And you'll notice that in July, the North Node is also moving into Aries. So there's this sense of tradition and rules, and someone's got to take charge. Someone's got to have leadership, right? It's not just about making money, North Node and Taurus. It's got to be about what is going to be good for the collective eventually, right? As we get Pluto back into Aquarius later on this year. So there's going to be this 4 or 5 month period when we're going to be wrestling with a structure. Is it good enough? And some people might say, you know what? Good enough. We're not going to put this together with spit and chewing gum and baling wire like we have done. Okay. It can't just be a small overhaul. People in cardinal signs want to start something new. Let's dispense with this. If it hasn't worked and there's still failures, which you've seen recently, you've seen some banking failures recently, small banks who kind of get out over their skis. All right. There's a difference between small banks, or banks that are organized under a certain structure, meaning they have savings accounts and they have checking accounts and they have credit cards and things like that, and investment banks. Investment banks make investments, and some of them are super risky. And so there was a time right? When that's how we got into 2008 problems. That was an issue about real estate. There can be other risky investments that show up, and banks have an issue, or our structure has an issue, right? And so we're like, no, we're never dealing with this again. We need to do something that really works for the collective. It's not just about, one person or a small group of people benefiting from something. It's got to benefit the collective. So we have that Aquarian thing sitting there waiting for us. And now when Pluto goes back into Capricorn, we're going to get another look at this, and we get to say, do we want to start over? Do we want to do something new? Or do we want to tweak? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think by the time we get it to Aquarius will be incrementally working with the structures we put in place now. So between now and October, there may be some big overhauls, okay? And that's a collective thing because Pluto is a collective planet. Pluto and Neptune and Uranus, those furthest out planets, are about a philosophical, spiritual evolution. So it's about changing what we believe so that the structure and aligning that structure to reflect that. Okay? Creating the rules, got me, that are going to help the collective. Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune are all planets that deal with generational change and evolution. And especially now with this Pluto going retrograde back into Capricorn. Are the rules working? And are they serving the foreseeable future? Capricorn is also about legacy. I don't want to put something in place that just lasts for a generation or even just for the term of, well, I'm only here for a couple of years and then I'm going to retire. I want something to last. Capricorn wants things to last. They want real change, structural, formidable change. And Pluto, since Pluto is transformation, things got to change on a very foundational level. Okay. So that's kind of the collective experience of that because of the generational nature of Pluto. But let's talk about personally, like how might it impact you? Have you put in place structures that are going to serve you for the long haul, or haven't you? The signs that are going to be the most impacted by this shift are the cardinal signs, okay? Aries and Libra, Cancer and Capricorn. You guys are going to be the most impacted by this energy. So for Capricorns, this would carry first house energy, really the energy of the self, the ego. Am I creating myself? Do I have the rules in place? Have I given myself the rules that are going to take me through the next 20 years? Have I done that in the last 18 years? Have I put myself in a position that I can then have myself go through Aquarius with this plutonic energy of change, transformation, innovation? Have I set myself up for that? Right? Am I really literally being who I am? And are the rules in alignment with that? The rules that I've created my life around, are they in alignment with that? So if I think I'm someone of high integrity, but I'm doing stuff that's a little sketch, then I'm not in alignment with that. And that's when Pluto goes, bam, like you can't do that. Okay. So for Capricorns, you might find that you're rethinking and reworking who you're expressing yourself to be, all right, in the world. For Cancerians, this is going to fall in your 7th house of relationships. And the same thing, it's like, am I setting myself up for a long-term future? Now, some of you say yes, and some of you are like, absolutely not. I'm letting everybody take advantage of me. I'm letting myself be run over. I'm not putting my needs first in relationships, or I'm not putting my needs in the proper perspective in my relationships. So my needs don't matter. I'm doing it for everybody else and not for me. And you might need to balance that out so you can set yourself up for a future that is more able to move with what's going on, right? What you've done for the last 18 years may not work for the next 18, okay, in your relationships. For Aries, this falls in your 4th house of home life. Are you setting yourself up? Do you live where you want to live? So some of you might be like, why am I here? I don't like it here. I've always wanted to live in Spain, or I want to think about what makes me feel nurtured, what makes me feel good. And, you might be challenged by that. And now with this Pluto in Capricorn, you get to set the new foundation. Some of you may be moving. All right. That might be happening for Aries. It falls in that fourth house of home life. Some of you also in that fourth house of home life, maybe because Pluto is about deep work, right? It's about shadow work. Pluto rules Scorpio. So that can be deep wounds around mother, or deep wounds around ancestor can be coming to the fore. Some people may be told that they're adopted. Some people may be closing out a chapter with mom. Okay, same thing for Capricorn. You'd be closing out a chapter with dad. But Capricorn, or as a mom and a dad, you could be, your life can be changing, so the kids are leaving the nest, right? There can be that. So take a look at that for Aries. That would fall in your fourth house of home life. For Libra, the other cardinal sign, this falls in your 10th house of career. And are you really have you set yourself up? That's kind of the theme here, because Pluto can be, bam, I haven't set myself up for the future. So when Pluto comes back into Capricorn, we get a reset of the rules. What is going to look good for us long term? Libra is saying, am I at the right company? Have I started my own company yet? Have I started my own business yet? Do I want to do that? Oh no, I'm going to stay here in this thing, in this big company. And, when Pluto gets back into Aquarius, and it's like, a growing divide will happen. With all of these placements, a growing divide will happen if you are not in alignment for where you're going. So Aquarian energy, as when Pluto moves back into Aquarius, these structures may be tested, okay? Because you're going to have different challenges moving forward than you had when Pluto was in Capricorn. So the thing about Pluto and Capricorn is saying, are you sure? Are you really sure that you're where you want to be? That's what it's asking you. So the next thing I want to talk about is Saturn. All right. Saturn is that planet, the kind of tough taskmaster. People call it a malefic planet. Saturn and Mars are known as the malefic planets. But really what Saturn is kind of telling you to eat your vegetables and go to bed at a reasonable hour. Okay. Saturn is the energy of like father energy, do the right thing, whatever that is. Okay. But it is the areas of life that require you to put time and attention to them in order for them to work. You have to put energy toward it in order to get something moving in that direction. So you can't just let the relationship kind of spin in its own juices. You can't just let your work life kind of take care of itself. Saturn is saying to you, where do you want to go? All right, it's time to put that time and energy into it. And it's going in retrograde in Pisces, which is a very different energy. Pisces is the energy of dreams and ideals and intuition and spirituality. So you can see that Saturn in Pisces Saturn is kind of uncomfortable in that area, because it's a little hard to get your hands around the dreaminess and the ideals and the spirituality of the whole thing. You could get it could be confusing to you with Saturn in retrograde, a little bit about getting swept away in fantasy or escapism, right? Like, I'm running away from this. So be sure not to let yourself get carried away with any kind of vices that you may have cultivated, too much drinking, gambling, whatever. You're going to have to be careful, because when Saturn goes into retrograde, it's an internal thing. When Saturn is direct, or when any planet is direct, it impacts externally. So other people see it. Other people are knowing that Saturn is, that you're putting time and energy into your career. People get it, right? Like, if you're kind of blowing things off, you're kind of, phoning it in, but all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I'm going to do it. People see it, right? And there's some impact. When Saturn is internal, when Saturn is in retrograde, it's an internal kind of energy. So I kind of like this, because I like Saturn in Pisces for this, because it's sort of saying, are you aligned with your spiritual being? Is what you're doing externally in your career, in your love life, And you'll see a little, do you see a little similarity between what I was talking about with Pluto and Capricorn? There's a reason for that, because Saturn rules Capricorn. So there's a little similarity here of, am I aligned with my spiritual nature through the energy of Saturn, through the energy of, am I putting my money where my mouth is? Am I walking my talk? And when planets are in retrograde, it is going to push you, because Saturn pushes. All right. Saturn's like, I know the right thing to do. This is the right thing to do. Very father-like energy, kind of saying, there's only one word you should know, son: plastics, right? What movie is that from? Drop it in a comment. A little quiz. Okay. Pop quiz. Saturn will push you to think about the rules and the foundations that you have set. And mostly, because it's in Pisces, the why. Why am I putting these rules in place, or why am I abiding by these rules? Is this what I really want in terms of my dreams and my aspirations and my intentions for my life, Pisces? Have I put rules in place that are okay with my family and okay with society, but aren't really working for me? Okay, so Saturn going into retrograde, June 17th through November 4th of this year, you get a chance to reflect and rework, understanding this is alignment stuff. Okay, so what I'm working on, what I'm paying attention to, what I'm putting effort into, I'm putting a lot of effort into this job, but it doesn't align with my dreams at all. It doesn't align with my spiritual awakening. It doesn't align with that stuff. So this is forcing you to get real. Saturn in retrograde in Pisces is forcing you to get real, which is so interesting, because Pisces is possibly the most intangible thing. But with Saturn there, it can give some grounding to this piece of you, this part of you that isn't really able to be completely calculated or completely put your arms around. You're not really sure. It's very watery energy. But when you go against it, when you go against your intuition, or when you go against your true nature, your spiritual nature, your dreams and what you want to create, you know it. You're like, I'm selling myself out. I'm not putting the time and effort, Saturn, into the things that really matter to me. And maybe I'm even seeing that I'm not dreaming big enough. Okay, Saturn is going to force you to dream. Review and rethink and reflect. Start following the long hidden dreams of your nature. Start following that. Start following your ideals. Yeah, it's really dreamy and idealistic. That's right. So, but that's in alignment with your high self. Pisces is directly pipelined to your high self. So are you living your high self mission? This is a chance, this next 6 months or so is a chance to rework stuff. Now, the houses that it falls in for you are going to show you what part of your life that you might be selling out in. Okay? So, and this is a chance to reflect, rework, and then put action into it, because Saturn will help you do that. So for Gemini, it's going to mostly affect the mutable signs: Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, and Pisces, especially Pisces, because it's in Pisces, right? So this will affect the folks of mutable signs. And mutable is like, we have cardinal signs that are like the self-starters, and like, this is the word go, this is like what we're doing, right? Like I just talked about with Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, and Libra with Pluto. Now the planets, or the people who have a lot of energy in mutable signs, will be most impacted by this. Okay, so for example, Gemini, this would fall in your 10th house of career. And ruminating on your work goals, are they in alignment with your dreams? Are you what did you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a fireman. I want to be, well, what is the root cause of that? What do you want? Were you excited by someone who was a fireman? Or did you really have this desire to help people by saving their property or saving them from destruction? Like, did you really have that? Like, look at it in terms of thematics. What did you really want to do as a kid? And then look at the theme of it, because that's what Pisces is. Pisces is more of an idealistic. So when we choose careers, we typically choose them, like for somebody who sells insurance, that's really about protection, right? It's really about safety and protection and nurturing. I know a lot of people are like, insurance is so boring, but that's really what it is. So some people choose creative careers in the creative arts because they want to bring beauty to the world, or they want to express themselves in a certain way. So look back on what you wanted to do. This is a really terrific time to do this, especially for Geminis. Consider the structures of your career life, the company you're working for. Is this truly supportive of your dreams, goals, and ambitions? Are you in position to be able to use the energy, Saturn, when Saturn goes direct again, are you in a position to be able to do that? Or have you put yourself in a position that's too safe? That's not really supportive of who you are and where you want to go. So for Gemini, this is going to impact your 10th house, and you're probably going to be, sort of meditating on your work goals and how is it really under supporting where you want to go, and be idealistic. Okay. Be dreamy, be spiritual, or whatever it is. Spiritual doesn't mean you're going to become some kind of mystical guru, but spiritual is like, it's serving your higher self and your purpose. Are you fulfilled? All right. So that's what's going to be happening for Gemini. For Virgo, this sits in your 7th house of partnerships. Now, it doesn't mean your marriage is going to end or anything like that, but this is an opportunity to get clear on intentions with this partnership. Is this the direction I want to go for my long-term goals? Is this something that's supportive of me expanding right into my dreams? Is this something that's expanding? Look at your relationships, business partnerships, intimate, one-to-one, 7th house. Okay. Get clear on commitments you've made. Maybe commitments have to be looked at again and redone. Maybe this is a time for you and a business partner to look at the agreement you've made, and you might be changing it because the goals might have changed. Maybe it's been 5 years. You gotta take a look at this. This is a perfect time to do that, especially for Virgo. Virgo is going to really feel this in their partnerships, and it's not always about your intentions. Now, are you holding up your end of the bargain in commitments? What you've said, have you done it? Is it healthy for you? Okay, because Virgo is a mutable sign, and you might be looking at your relationship saying, I don't know if this is that supportive of my dreams. I don't know if this is healthy for me. That might be happening for Virgos. All right, it falls in their 7th house of partnerships. For Sagittarius, this falls in your 4th house of home life. Okay, this intensifies and helps you get clear on where you live. A lot of Sagittarians may be moving. Like, are you sick of third-party relationships? Are you sick of being connected to people who are unavailable? The 4th house is about nurturing. What makes me feel nurtured? And it's literally your home. If you're married to someone who's cheating on you, get clear on what you want from this. If you want to be married and you don't care what goes on behind closed doors, then sure. But if not, then not. All right. Is this place that you're living in supportive of your long-term dreams and goals? I don't know. So Sagittarians are taking stock. And this is also a place for Sagittarians, maybe healing some old wounds. Okay. Ancestral wounds, ancestral karma. You may be finding that the home you've created with somebody is not working for you anymore. Or, hey, this is really great. So it doesn't mean that everybody's changing everything in these things. It can just give you some kind of reinforcement that, like, hey, you've done a good job. Because, Saturn does reward you for walking your talk. And if you are finding yourself in Sagittarius in the home life that you have always wanted, gifty, Saturn will help you expand that or bring that to the next level. It will help you focus on putting more time and attention. Some of you who love where you're living, you could do some renovation, or you could say, hey, you know what? I really don't know why I keep living with these things in this house, literally in this house, that aren't working for me. I don't like I don't like the fact that we only have one master bathroom. So we're going to look at putting in a second full bathroom, a second full bathroom. And so not everybody's trooping into my bedroom for showers, right? Like we're re-looking at that. That's not okay. I don't like that. I want my sanctuary. I want my space. Very Piscean energy. So that's where it falls in for fourth house, for Sagittarius in the fourth house. For Pisces, this falls in the first house of self. So I've discussed all these mutable signs. Pisces, this is falling in your first house to reflect on your presence in the world. Are you walking your talk in all parts of your life? But this is really, since it falls in the first house for Pisces, is this serving your passion projects? Are you putting in time and effort into things that are meaningful to you, that are your brand, that are the things that you want to put into the world? Get real with yourself about who you are and what you need to do to make your dreams a reality. Get real. Okay. So this Saturn retrograde, 7 degrees Pisces, June 17th through November 4th, this is really going to hit the mutable signs: Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. All right. The third thing I want to talk about is another Pisces adventure, even more Piscean. We're talking about Neptune retrograde in Pisces. That's happening June 30th. It goes through to December 6th. And this is going to give you a chance for you to kind of review and reflect on your own dreams, on the dreams themselves, right? We just talked about how are we putting enough time and attention and effort into our dreams? But this is going to ask you to look at the dreams themselves. Okay. This does affect the mutable signs. So Gemini and Sag again, Gemini and Sag again, Virgo and Pisces again. And because it's a retrograde, it's an internal reflection, reviewing, reconnecting with your dreams, and maybe even reconfiguring and working on the dreams, maybe coming to a new place about dreams, or maybe bringing in some new dreams through spiritual practices. So some of you are definitely opening up more to tarot and astrology. Maybe that's why so many new folks I have on my channel, really opening that up, using tools like writing and journaling, any kind of healthier practices. That's, the thing that's needing to be balanced here is, am I running away in my life from things that I don't want to see? Am I sticking my head in the sand about stuff that I want to make go away? You could get swept away by fantasies, full-blown escapism, right? Sticking your head in the sand, disconnection, indulgence. And so you're going to need to sort of add in a little bit of grounding to this, especially because like Saturn, grounded, Pluto that I just talked about, grounded energy, both, focused on transformation, but also the Pluto and Capricorn. There's grounding to those things because they're both with earth energy. They both have some element of earth. Neptune in Pisces is all water. Okay. So if you have a lot of water in your chart, mostly the mutable signs are being affected here. But if you do have a lot of water in your chart, you should pay attention to that, especially Pisces. If you got a lot of Pisces, you're going to have to tie a rope to your feet and anchor them somewhere, because this is going to be big. So Neptune and Pluto, I had talked about Pluto in the beginning of this video, are generational planets. And this is about spiritual evolution. All right. These planets help us generationally align with our high self, align with our fulfillment and purpose and mission on this planet. And they're helping us to understand, am I dreaming big enough? Am I really truly aligned? And I want to kind of review these things and maybe use spiritual practices to bring myself into alignment. Okay. So again, the mutable planets are being most impacted, and I'll go through them just like I did before. So Pisces, this really hits you in your first house of the self. Are you fooling yourself? Okay. Are you the person you're presenting? Are you represented through your true spiritual nature? Do you feel fulfilled? Do you feel like you're on path for mission? Are your dreams coming true? Are you really aligning with that energy and allowing downloads, allowing your intuition to move you or help you make decisions. Are you really aligned with that? Are you aligned with more fantasy, things that are untethering you from any kind of grounded experience? Or are you saying, hey, my strong spiritual nature here is informing the decisions I make, and those are the things that are going to get me where I want to go? So it's definitely, with so much water here, with Pisces in the first house, this is really kind of about getting real. And are you dreaming? Are you innovating? Are you using your intuition? And is that apparent in the expression of you? First house. Is that apparent in the expression of you? You don't have to be a guru or a guide, but you are somebody who follows intuition. You are somebody who really uses that spiritual connection in a big way. When Neptune goes retrograde, we're asking ourselves these questions. And sometimes we can try to run away from these questions, okay? Because Neptune can facilitate head in the sand. So you're really going to have to work, if you have a lot of Piscean energy or anything like that, you're going to have to work to not get kind of blurry about this, kind of too dreamy about this. And the thing that will help you stay focused, because this is so, not grounded, is spiritual practices. Meditation is going to be loud. Anything that you want to open up, any kind of gifts, this is a terrific time to do it. This is about inner experience. So going inside, it's not just for Pisces, but it's for anybody with a mutable sign. It will be easier for you to connect to your high self. It will flow naturally. It'll be something that just seems like, wow, I'm opening my third eye. Wow, I'm connected all the way up to my 8th and 9th chakras. I'm starting to talk to ascended masters. Holy cow, holy cow. And then when Neptune goes direct, when you wake up from this dream, right, December 6th, how has that informed this last 6 months since June? Since, June 30th, so last 5 months, how has this really impacted the me I am? Okay. For Virgo, this falls in your 7th house. Again, we're talking about partnerships. Are you seeing your relationship clearly and for what it is? Or are you kind of just like, running away from the fact that this is not a happy thing? Or are you running away from something that's really good for you? Have you decided that like, oh, I've got to be on mountaintop by myself, and I really, this relationship, even though it's really good and healthy for me, it's maybe not, you're not seeing it as the spiritual fulfillment that you're looking for. Or maybe you're running away from something that's really, really good and it is spiritually fulfilling, but you think of yourself as such a victim that you don't want to. Now, I'm just saying that there's somebody out there who's thinking of themselves as a victim. This can be self-sabotaging. Okay, this can be very self-sabotaging. And the internal Neptune, Virgo, for you, this falls in your 7th house. So are you self-sabotaging a lot? Do you sabotage your health? Do you sabotage your relationships? All right. And if you did it, this can also give you a sense of, do I deserve true love? You can be like, no, I made a commitment to this relationship and I'm staying here because I'm a good doobie. But Neptune in retrograde is gonna force you to see what's good for your spiritual development. Okay. And maybe where you are is good for your spiritual development in a negative way, but you don't have to stay there. Okay. And maybe where you are, maybe you're like, oh boy, I should have married that person all that time ago. Oh, I kind of see. So what is my options now? And that, when Neptune goes direct, you won't be so dreamy or so confused about it. Using spiritual practices, meditation and things, you're so connected, you can help. This will be a good, healthy practice for you to start. Virgo is very good about rituals and putting in place things that are new routines. So this may cause you to do a new spiritual routine that's helping you to open to your intuition, get downloads, all of that. So this home sign, Pisces is at home and Neptune's at home at Pisces. It's its natural ruler. And it really is going to help you to fully realize the spiritual nature of you and also see things more clearly. gives you some chances to use your spiritual gifts to see things more clearly. And if you can't, because Neptune in Pisces is pretty dreamy, then ask. Step up your prayer practice, step up your meditation practice, okay? Especially as it relates to your partnerships. Are you really connected in that partnership, or are you disconnected spiritually? That's another thing to look at for Virgo. For Gemini, this is going to show up in your 4th house. Time to reconsider your home life. Is this your dream home? All right. Is this the dream experience that you want? And add intentionality around this. Is this a good refuge from the world? Is this a place that I feel safe in? Do I feel allowed to dream here? Is this the home life you've always dreamed of? If not, why not? And then dream a bigger dream. Sometimes the mutable signs may not be dreaming a big enough dream. Whether it's who you are showing yourself to be in your relationships, in your home life, and Sagittarius will find this is in the 10th house of career. All right, Sagittarius is going to be shown to be like, hey, it's time to dream bigger. All right, Sag has given up. Maybe it's time to open up your spiritual gifts. Maybe you gave up on that. Maybe that was not something you really felt like you could do, that it was too woo-woo or something like that. But now expanding through your dreams, maybe dream work, maybe having really powerful dreams at this time, desires about your career. If you have your dream career, great. How can my connection to spirit open it up more? So some of you who do spiritual work, like I do, some of you are opening up to more layers of your intuition. Some of you are opening up to higher levels of connection with spirit, maybe those ascended masters. Some of you are learning to channel, all of it, okay? And even if your career isn't about being a shaman or a mystic or reading tarot on YouTube, you can use your intuition to really expand your career, okay? So the final thing I want to say, so that was Neptune in Pisces, 27 degrees Pisces. Mutable signs will be most affected. I want to leave this video with this. This is a truism, that a little nugget that I want to share with you, that this is my philosophy of astrology. If you feel in any way, shape, or form like things aren't where you want it to be, and you look at your chart and you're like, oh man, I got Saturn sitting there, no wonder. What I'm going to say to you is, everything I have just told you is about empowering you to make a new decision and empowering you to add different energies. So for example, if you feel like Saturn, if you feel like Capricorn, like you've got a lot of heavy earth energies, you may need to add the opposite. Add the opposite sign. Okay. So when we talk about Neptune and Pisces, super watery, right? Opposite sign of Pisces is Virgo. And so if you feel like this Neptune and Pisces thing is really getting to you, whether you're a mutable sign or not, you can add Virgo. So Virgo is about our health and well-being. Virgo is adding structure. It's adding routines so that we don't float away in our spiritual nature of Pisces, right? So if you feel like you've got some really strong Piscean stuff going on, add Virgo. Okay? Add Virgo. Virgo is going to hold you in a place where you can accept gifts, accept spiritual awakening, and use it to your best and highest regard. Also, it'll help you with fulfillment, and it will help you kind of ground it in something that is healthy for you. Okay? So let's go back. So that was Neptune in Pisces. We'll go back to Pluto in Capricorn. And Pluto in Capricorn is about transformation, and it's also the Capricornian energy that I talked about in the beginning. If you feel like this is too nuts and bolts for you, add Cancerian energy to it. Cancerian is like, listen, it's going to be okay, right? Capricorn is father, Cancer is mother. So you went to dad, and dad said no. Now you're going to mom, and mom's like, oh, honey, I'll take care of it for you. Oh, sweetie, here's how we're going to do it. And this is how you work with your father. Okay, so go back into, right? So if you find that you have this Pluto and Capricorn, and it's too it's too much like rough or non-sentimental, or, rub some dirt on it. Okay. If it's too much like that, then you're going to want to go to nurturing Cancer and give yourself a break and do things that are nurturing for you, because you're doing some hard work here. Hard change through Capricorn. Pluto is transformation. This is a lot of hard work, heavy lifting. So don't forget to treat yourself well. Add in some Cancer. Okay. The middle one I talked about with Saturn, right? Saturn in Pisces. Now this is a kind of a nice balance, because Saturn is that energy of rub some dirt on it, change. But Pisces is like, yeah, but I have these dreams and goals, and that keeps me from being too worn down by the rub some dirt on it stuff. But what I want you to think about is Saturn. If Saturn rules Capricorn, then there's that mother-father thing I just talked about, where you can add in more nurturing. Pisces, you can add in more Virgo. You can add in more kind of like, okay, I'm going to do what's healthy for me. Okay, I'm going to have daily routines. I'm going to have a meditation routine. I'm going to do these things that are going to be healthy for me. Do you see what I'm getting at? So anytime any transit happens and you're feeling really weighed down by that energy, or feeling airy, like not grounded at all, I want you to add the opposite energy. So if things are in Aries and it's strong Aries energy about me, ego, leadership, oh my God, I'm at the front of the line here. Add in some Libra, find some partnership, find some people who are helpful and supportive. Okay, think about that way. And the reverse, if you're in this Libra energy of like, oh God, I've faded into the team, you're gonna have to step in with a little bit of Aries. You're gonna have to step up, okay, and shine your light a little bit brighter. Do you see how those two energies work together, Aries and Libra, me versus we? Okay, the next set is Taurus and Scorpio. Taurus is about feeling comfortable and also having what I need to have. How does my money work, my values, and all of that kind of stuff. You can get really tied up in earning money and being safe. Taurus can really get tied up in that energy of safety and using money and using other things to really make that true. Scorpio is about risk. It's about only through risk can you truly expand your financial stability. Only through risk and change can you really love another person. Okay. So if you're feeling too safe and you got too much Taurus, add some Scorpio, add a little risk. On the other hand, if you're in Scorpio and you are kind of like, whoa, I just change everything all the time, add a little Taurus. Taurus is going to help keep you grounded. You see where I'm going with this? Okay. The next partnership is Gemini and Sag. Gemini is the energy of communication. It's the energy of me doing my due diligence and creating a belief that I have. And then it's the birth of something new in my life, right? Gemini is definitely that, putting in that time and attention to the details so that I can create something. Right. And so it is a little bit about foundational knowledge and foundational belief systems. Sagittarius is about plugging into something bigger than us. So if you feel like you have too much energy of Gemini, meaning too much attention to detail, too much focus on what I have to say, you might want to read a little bit about what the philosophers had to say, or you might plug into religion or a political party and hear what other people have to say. And then you can bounce back and forth here, right? So add in what other people have to say, maybe go to graduate school, go to college or something like that. And that balances out, right? Like ignorance is not the same as having knowledge, right? It's not the same thing. And Dunning-Kruger effect, I think that's called. So Gemini is like, I've done my own research and this is what I believe. But Sagittarius is about looking into the world and sort of seeing it in context. All right. So if you feel like you have a little bit too much of that Gemini, look to the world. If you feel like in Sagittarius that you have these ideas of philosophy and you're really dragging the rest of us with you, this big sort of picture thinking, you've got to add a little detail. Like, how do I follow you along? How do I do that? Gemini is much more about the how. Okay. And Sagittarius is the why. And Sagittarius is kind of like this very optimistic and expansive kind of philosophical way of living life. Gemini is like, okay, yeah, but how does that work? So either way, you're going to want, and they're both about communication. So you're saying this stuff out loud. So if you want to, if you are a Sagittarian or have a lot of Sagittarius energy, you're going to have to add some detail as to how this works. Hey, I got a great idea. Sagittarius is very expansive with ideas. Gemini says, I'll give you the structure. Gemini says, hey, this is really cool software. This is really what it can do. Sagittarius says, all right, I'll give you the vehicle of the idea, right, that we can use this for. So that's Gemini and Sagittarius. Cancer and Capricorn, I talked quite a bit about that today. Cancer and Capricorn is mother and father energy. Capricorn, you got too much, rub some dirt on it. You want to add nurturing. Cancer, you got too much watery feelings. You're going to have to add some kind of like, I do it this way and I'm going to make some effort. I'm going to put some time into it. Cancer can be a little bit too watery and let other people run all over them. Cancer can be doing everything for everybody. Capricorn says, Stop trying to make me do all of your dirty work. Okay. So if you have too much Cancer in your life, you might have to have a Capricorn stop sign. Okay. Leo energy is the energy of creativity and fun and joy and sex and cool stuff. And Aquarius is the opposite energy of how's that impacting the collective? Are you expanding your creativity for the collective or is it just for you? All right. So if you have too much of Leo, you need to gain some perspective about how it impacts other people. And if you have too much Aquarius, then you need to do some stuff for yourself. You can't always be about doing things for other people. All right. And Pisces and Virgo, we've talked a lot about today. Pisces is the energy of spirituality, and it can also be the energy of, it can even be the energy of addictions, sticking your head in the sand. Virgo says, no, we look at everything and we're going to do things. We're going to make structures that keep us grounded so that we can fully access our spirituality in Pisces and not float away into it. All right. Virgo says, I'm going to make it a daily ritual, a daily routine, along with going to work, along with eating food, along with having fun in my life, along with being healthy. Right. And Pisces says, hey, this is my direct pipeline to spirit. And Virgo says, good. How can we make that work in my life? So that's a lot of information for you today, but these are the 3 things that you really need to look out for in June. The June 11th movement of Pluto going retrograde back into Capricorn. Okay. The second thing was Saturn in retrograde in Pisces. And the third thing is Neptune retrograde in Pisces. These things are going to impact our lives in a big way. June is a big deal. What you put in place these next couple of months is going to take you far. All right. So I hope you enjoyed that video. There's a lot of information in there, like I said, but here's the deal. If you like these kinds of videos, please let me know. All right. I will do more of these videos. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. This is the way that YouTube works to get it out to further folks so we can attract more people to our tribe. And that's really what we're doing here anyway, so that we can create a better world for all of us. Okay, so thanks for being here. Mwah. All right, I hope you enjoyed that video. If it was helpful to you, please consider liking this video and sharing it with anybody who might have a need for similar kind of information. And if you like this video, check out these videos.